Yemi, hi.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a very, I don't know, sarcastic smile going,
How do you
and
know that?
I think I know where that's coming from. Anyways,
Okay.
before we dive into the matter of Joseph Yobo, which is very topical, you heard the story, of course, and your initial reaction, because Yemi's initial reaction was, "Nah, that's not true." I thought it was a rumor or something, but
Until we got the mail.
until we got the mail, yeah.
Okay, so let me clear the records. Gennaro Raw, who is currently the coach of the Super Eagles, is a very experienced coach. He has his badges from God knows when.
For
And I've done a lot of searching, and I've not seen Yobo's badges. Or maybe he's gotten those badges without us knowing, which is also very possible. I remember a couple of years ago, people like Ryan Giggs, John Terry,
Frank Lampard.
Lampard were doing
Were
their
studying
badges
for their
while
badges,
they were
yeah.
playing. Wayne Rooney, all of them, they got their badges, you know. And talking about badges, it is important to grade your coaches based on those badges. It
The
shows
levels
you,
to it.
yeah, it shows you how far they've gone.
And how prepared they are to take the top job.
Some people are very good coaches. It's just in them.
Yeah.
You get. Some are very good players that will never become good coaches. Some players will become very good analysts, but not coaches. And some of them, we've seen it now. Thierry Henry, we've seen Gary Neville, and all of them. They've failed as coaches,
Yep.
but
Paul
they've done
Scholes.
well as players and analysts. You get. Joseph Yobo is a fantastic footballer. He's
Yeah.
done well for Nigeria. He's done well for himself. He's had a good career as a footballer. And he's actually done well as an analyst too. I like watching Yobo analyze
fantastic analyst.
football.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. But the part that I've never seen
Yeah.
and I don't know nothing about.
A lot of
and
people don't know
is
a lot about
if
it.
Yobo has gone to qualify as a proper coach. Because this is Nigeria's biggest football brand, the Super Eagles. And God forbid, an assistant coach should be as close to his chief coach
As
as
capable
possible,
as- yeah.
because
anything
anything
can
can
happen.
happen, and you will need someone
To
like
step
your
in.
assistant coach to step up to the
Yeah.
plate. You get. Now, this cast a lot of doubt on the NFF itself and the structures that they fail to put in place. They never have a system of recruiting proper coaches. It's more of like, oh, this guy is my guy, put him in the under
Knee-jerk
21.
reactions.
It's more like that to me, and I stand to be corrected. Because even Imama himself, was he the best coach when he got the job in Nigeria? You understand?
Debatable.
Look, we have Nigerian coaches who even have the Euro and the UEFA grade B and grade A licenses.
UEFA Pro.
Yes, they have those major licenses. But nobody's looking their way. Trust me, we need to stop playing around with these things and let it not be paddy. You want to bring Yobo in, you can bring him in on many levels. But I don't see Yobo with badges. So if he doesn't have badges at that level, coaching the national team, the Super Eagles of Nigeria, I don't know where the NFF came with this.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait back for Yobo to respond and say, I'm ready. I got the badges. I got the stuff. At least we know he doesn't have the experience.
He's studying for
We're
his,
not even
coaching
talking
badges
experience now because this is really funny. We can't keep playing games and gambling with Nigerian football.
Wow.
So for me,
Strong.
this is a miss.
Strong words.
This is a miss on the part of the NFF.
Yeah.
This is a major miss on their part. And sadly, they're throwing Yobo into the deep end. And I don't think this is a good move.
Let me ask you this quickly.
Yeah.
Will your opinion be different if it had been any of the age grade? Would you still say this?
If it had been, say, the under 13 and under 17,
Or
we
under
can
20?
No, not the under 20. Maybe the under 13 or under 17. We can take a risk with that, you get, because it's still basic football that they need to play at that level. And of course, you also look at his backroom staff, because, look, some of these coaches that we know, they're not the best. At times, it's the guy behind the scene, and that's why it's important to have a strong assistant coach.
Very
Remember
important.
that when the NFF got Clemens Vesta off, they refused to pay his assistant, Joe Bonfrey. And Vesterhoff decided to pick up the bill by himself.
And Bumford turned out to be.
He knows why he did that, because he knew that he needed Bonfrey. And when Westerhoff left, Bonfrey came back at some point to coach Nigeria. But remember, he had worked as an assistant coach.
Right.
I can go down the line. Even Samson Siasia brought in his own, Kalika was his name. He brought his own assistant. So the job of an assistant coach is not the job of a
It's
PA.
not just to come and sit down. on the
No,
bench.
it's not that. It's someone who actually can take charge, who can draw up a team
when he
list,
has to.
read a game,
Who
and
the head coach can rely on.
Yeah, so
While Shola is definitely not a fan of
I don't-
Joseph Yobo's appointments. I mean,
we need
as
to
the
be,
assistant
we
coach
need
of
to
the
be
Super
very clear
Eagles.
because
Yeah.
this is not personal.
Yeah, of course
I
it's
know
not.
I know people tend to misread and
A
misunderstand,
lot of
but
things
I
that you
really
say.
don't care as long as I'm speaking my own
Yeah.
truth. The NFF has made a big mistake by bringing in someone who doesn't have experience as assistant coach of the Super Eagles. It doesn't have to be the personality of Joseph Yobo.
Wow.
It just has to be the fact that when you're bringing in someone to that team at that level,
Shola,
it has to be
how
someone with the
about the
experience and the badges.
How about the fact that he's working on his coaching badges? Does that like change anything for you? He's
That's
working
what
on
I'm
it at the
saying.
moment?
Why does it have to be this particular player?
Okay,
There are players with badges already and experience.
okay.
So why don't we work with them?
With those ones.
Why
All right.
does it have to be this particular player? That's what I'm talking about.
All right.
So it's not about him working on his badges. This is the Super Eagles. It's the
Shola
Super
is
Eagles.
definitely.
We all know that CAF has said something, and I hope they start that thing.
Yeah.
Hopefully next season, any coach of a top league team, the Premier League in every country, must at least have the top CAF badges. So if they're doing that to the club size, what about your national team?
All right, then Shola is definitely not a fan of the appointment of Joseph Yobo as the assistant coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Of course, you viewers can also share your thoughts on Joseph Yobo's appointments, and you can reach us on Twitter, channels_sports. We'll be here to take all your messages. You can also reach us on Facebook, channels-sports.
You can also send us a mail, sportsthismorning@channelstv.com.
Exactly, and
So-
we'll be here to take all your messages. We have one already coming from Ogunfora Osun, who's saying, I am not so sure what to make of Joseph Yobo's appointments. I'm just wondering if he has the necessary coaching badges, or is the NFF just doing the popular appointments?
That's what we're saying.
Osun.
It's about badges.
Ogunfora.
It's about badges and experience. And the Super Eagles can't afford to put someone who doesn't have any of those things, and Yobo doesn't.
Does it make any
Go
difference?
on and on.
Does it make any difference if those who put him there believe he can do the job? Does it make any difference? Because we thinking he can't do it is different from those who are putting thinking he can do
We're
it.
not thinking he can't do
No.
it, though.
I have a reason for asking that question.
No, you see, the people who put him there, let's be specific. We're talking about the NFF appointing Yobo. The NFF have had a lot of misses now. The Imama that they removed too, it's the same thing. The other coach from Warri Wolves, I think the guy just gone back to England. It's the same thing. They keep bringing in people without us knowing the process of bringing these coaches in. So if they know how to select coaches or not, is what we are contesting. That it's better you have a transparent process. Okay, throw it open. If you're going to headhunt, bring to us a short list, that when Nigerians see the CV, when they go out to do the research, they cannot
tell us
question it.
this was the process.
Yes. But of course, how did you arrive at this? We don't know.
All right, then. Like I said, our social media handles are still very much open, and you can always reach us on channels _sports and channels-sports. So you can send your thoughts on the appointment of Joseph Yobo. Let's move on to the Nigerian Professional Football League now. 3 matches are played. Rescheduled games are played yesterday, and we have the results for you. Starting off with Rangers edging Jigawa Golden Stars by a lone goal. Very much needed win for Rangers, because that has now taken them out of the relegation zone. There's also Eimba, fantastic 3-0 win over Wiki Tourist. And last but not the least, the derby between Aqua United and Dakada SC ended 2 goals apiece. And let's start with Rangers quickly. Good win for them.
Rangers fans will not let us rest anymore. Now that they don't know how to lose anymore, now we need to go hide our faces. 'Cause I'm not going to lie, I poked fun at a couple of them.
Yep.
But I'm impressed with the way they're playing. And they have a couple of games at hand.
Yep.
which if it goes well, they actually find themselves in the top 6, top 7. So good
Is it
result.
possible for them to be back on the continent next year?
Well, it's Nigerian football. Anything can happen, and I mean that positively because
Okay.
what they do is to keep on churning out this
You
kind
think
of
they're not
results.
too far away?
They're not too far away. It's Rangers.
All right,
Yeah,
Enyimba as well.
pedigree.
The People's Elephant, 3 wins in a row now, 3-0 over Wiki Tourist and Stanley Dingba, Austin Oladapo, and Victor Mboma on target.
Check out the roster. You know, then
It's a
you
crack
know
squad.
you know they have like
It's a crack squad.
yeah, it's like Super Eagles Team B kind of
Yeah.
quality that they
Yeah.
have in Enyimba. But they now brought in another coach who seems to be a maverick of sorts, who's like getting those guys to play football.
Fatai.
Since Fatai Osho has come in,
Yeah.
it's added a little bit of oomph to that side, and we're seeing the results, even on the road, you know.
Even on the continent
On the
as
continent,
well. Wow.
you know.
Flying, and not the flying antelopes. The People's Elephants are, going great guns right now. The last...
Dakada
Aqua
We
United.
knew it was always going to be like that, but
Yeah.
I thought Aqua United were going to find a way to hedge it.
They actually had to fight back
See,
twice to
yeah.
draw this game.
Let me talk as a neutral because these teams are from the same side of town. You get. It is beautiful what Dakada is doing. You know, they seem not to have respect for anybody.
Sure.
And they've shown it again to Aqua again, you know, because on paper, you'd have thought Aqua would take them out. But this season, you cannot predict which Dakada is turning up. And lately,
they have been very, very good.
They've been standing up to the big boys. It's a good result. Good for the Nigerian league also.
All right, let's see what the table looks like before we leave the Nigerian Professional Football League after those rescheduled games played yesterday. Enyimba, courtesy of the win over Wiki Tourists, have moved to 11th on the log, while Rangers are out of the relegation zone. They're now 16th on the log with 20 points from 15 matches. So they still have 4 games to play. And like I said, if they manage to win all those 4 games, they'll shoot up
Most
up the
definitely.
table. All right, then. So that's it for the NPFL. Let's talk about basketball.
Yeah.
Nigeria's D Tigress. You've got a big smile on your face. That's because I know you were very impressed with the way they played at the Olympics qualifier.
People
in Belgrade.
People are not focusing on one particular thing, one very important aspect.
And that's...
These girls didn't get to train well.
They didn't. Yeah.
They probably trained only once.
Once, yeah. Before the tournament started.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they were still able to play the way they did.
Yeah.
The best game for me was the game against the USA.
Of course.
Because,
of course it was.
Look, on paper, whitewash. It was going to be a whitewash. It was going to be one-sided. These girls were actually going to take them out. You know, they were going to take out the US.
They led for long
look,
periods.
ladies were not playing. Yeah. So this gives me a lot of excitement going into the Olympics, that they're not just going there to make up the numbers.
Not at all.
They are actually going there to play. If we can get them together on time and have this proper camp, maybe out there in the USA or something, but we need to camp together for a couple of weeks before they go to
because
Tokyo.
of the timing of the OQT, they didn't really get the opportunity to train a lot. But
but now going into the Olympics with your countdown, 100 and something.
We'll get to that.
60, we'll get to that in a bit now.
You guys-
So shout out to Nigeria's the Tigress, and now number 14th in the world, very close to cracking that top 10. And we saw at OQT where they defeated top 10 ranked sides in the US. Oh, they didn't defeat. It sounds like a defeat, like a win. They didn't win. They lost by 5 points.
In my own world,
to the USA.
In my own world, the USA didn't beat us.
Come on, Shala. They lost by 5 points to the USA, number 1.
I must also, because look, we must always speak the truth, so they know that we're speaking without bias. I must commend the Basketball Federation for being able to pull this one off. It's a big deal to have the Tigers and the Tigress at the Olympics. Same time.
First time ever.
Yeah.
In the year football couldn't be.
None of the football sides.
What's football again?
Yeah, the most popular sport in Nigeria.
Never heard
the
of
king
it.
of sports. Should I do me like that? They also lost by 6 points to Serbia. I can see Serbia in the top 10 as well.
I want Serbia in our next group.
For the Olympics.
Yeah, home advantage and other things.
Yeah,
let's play at the
neutral ground.
Serbian team, they can't beat us.
Okay.
At least we qualified.
Optimism. All right. Okay, let's also quickly listen to the sports minister. Recently we've talked about issues in and around funding And of course,
Did you say recently? We've been talking about funding forever.
okay, forever. Okay.
Anyways,
But the sports minister, like we jokingly said, he's been putting out fires that he didn't set by himself. And he's addressed the issue of funding. So let's just quickly listen to him, get his take on that, then come back and talk about all the other issues in your amazing world of sports.
As we have in all other sectors, there is a paucity of funds. So it's been a balancing act. Modern government cannot and does not fund everything 100%. In fact, we are behind. In some other countries, only the private sector funds sports development. It is only when they go for international, continental competitions that government comes in. But we have a working arrangement with the federations. They have their independence, they elect their board members. We're able to give them some percentage of the funds they need, and they have the independence to source for funds. And the government doesn't necessarily demand from them, oh, how did you get the funds, how did you spend it? They have that independence, but we're able to match. And the government has done considerably well. When they went to Italy, the government funded them, even though the funds came a bit late. Algiers, just a week ago, the government provided the funds. So it's a joint partnership, and like you know, we're trying to develop a business model around sports to bring private money into sports, just like we have in Europe, in the Americas, and Canada. We're trying to adopt the same model. Once we have that, a lot of private money will pour into government, and these federations will not really need government. The less government you have in sports development, the better it is.
Okay. So that's it. Sports Minister Sonidari addressing a whole lot of issues with regards to funding. All right. Shola says we send chills down his spine anytime we do this. So let's do it again. Let's tell you the number of days we have before the Olympics starts. Give official confirmation for you. 161 days before the multi-sport event begins. And we'll try to mirror Team Nigeria's preparation for that event. How ready it's Nigeria for that event? Will our outing in Tokyo be different from the other ones in recent times? Only time will tell. But right about now, we need to go on a break. And of course, when we return from that break, we'll talk about Team Nigeria's preparation. Also take a look at the papers all for you on Sports this morning.